Hey guys, I've got another build for you. So this one is, well, it's very fun. It's cast and shock and cast and freeze. Kind of playing a bit of a blaster over here, and it is really good in breaches. It does lack a little bit single target damage, but it's not too terrible. There's also a bunch of ways to kind of solve the problem as well. So let's run a map. We got everything in here. Max difficulty boss, of course, as well, so you can kind of gauge the damage better, right? And hopefully the breach is in an open space, so we can have more fun. So this is Monk, so it's pretty tanky, just inherently, right? And you're kind of just going around casting spark and the shaders again. You're just casting spark and the comets are flying down. I'll show you guys how everything works. First, let's try to find the breach so we can have some fun and blast. It's got breach, it's got beyond, so there should be a bunch of mobs in here again. Just need to actually hope that look at those comets. Just let's hope that the breach is in an open space. Come on, breach, where you are at. Where are you at? Come on, where's the breach? I'm gonna kill the boss before I find the breach. Is that what's gonna happen? Okay, there's a bunch of space over there as well. I guess we're gonna go kill the boss first. So for the boss, I do have a different setup with 2 comets. I'll explain everything later. But we are kind of having a little bit of a mana problem with this setup. But once everything pops, it's pretty satisfying. Yeah, so once the comets proc, there's some damage happening, but the single target right now is still not the best. I mean, it's kind of safe because you're freezing, right? But the damage is like slow. It's bursty, but it's slow. So let's try finding that breach, because this is where kind of the build shines, as there's a bunch of mobs, so you can, you freeze more mobs, you proc more comets, and it's more fun. Nice, tier 15s. Oh, invulnerability shrine, okay. And we have the breach in here as well. Alright, so let's see the breach. So it goes like this. I mean, I have the invulnerability shrine right now, but everyone's frozen all the time, so it's not really much different. You barely ever get hit. Oh my god, I think I should have gone the other way. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can still kill some mobs over here. Nothing here. No, my breach. Okay, some mobs. There we go, we're commenting, boys. This is the breach experience. And there's a bunch of open space. So I'll go collect the stuff, you know, later. We're gonna go over the build. So this build is a little bit scuffed. There's a couple of things that need to kind of fall in place before the build kind of comes online. First, I guess let's go over the passive tree. So we're playing Invoker. This is kind of what makes this whole thing possible. And this is just, you know, Giga defense is broken, completely broken. And of course, more energy for meta skills. This is also, like, these two in tandem work together to create the perfect combination of just comets all around. And this, you know, we're playing crate, of course, so this is good. In case if you run into mobs that have resistances. So for this kind of thing to work, we do need a bunch of freeze buildup and chance to shock. Although the shock chance is mostly for single target against well, just in maps. When you're clearing maps, you're mostly relying on cast and freeze. And technically you could just, if you just want to focus on blasting some breach maps without the boss, you could potentially just go with cast and freeze and maybe have like cast on I don't know, maybe not cast and crit, but mana remnants and the energy shield as well. So it's a little bit more safe. So if you want, you know, you could do that. But I have cast and shock for the single target, so you know there's a bunch of extra stuff that I needed to get. So of course you do want to grab all of these, all of the trigger nodes, so you can get more energy, and you do need at least 2 jewels with increased energy. So I'm not sure how much exactly you need. It's either 22 or 23, because right now when I proc shock against the boss, it's 51%, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just barely over, you know, just having to shock twice to proc a comet against bosses. Against maps, in maps it doesn't matter at all because it's mostly just freeze. But you know, if you wanna kill some bosses as well, more, well, just a little bit easier. Get 2 jewels with increased energy. Chance to inflict elements is also good, so because it improves our, you know, shock rate. Because the bosses have pretty high element threshold, so it's a little bit hard to shock them on a build like this. And you know, other than that, you're grabbing a bunch of freeze buildup over here, over there, a bunch of shock chance as well from here. Oh, this is shock, this is freeze. No, this is freeze. This one is also really good against the bosses. If you don't plan on killing bosses, you can just probably skip this one altogether. But you know, I wanted to kill some bosses as well. So, and also the biggest issue right now for me against single targets is mana. So, you know, I had to allocate everything that is reduced mana. Anointed this as well. Got controlled metamorphosis over here, so I can get this one without spending, you know, these extra points. And also this is real nice. We are Archmage. Our Archmage deals around 65% maybe damage, so this is, you know, pretty good. And of course right now I'm passing towards this. I am level 90 right now. Level 91 I can grab this, which would fix the mana issues a little bit. But ultimately I do need a 6 link to fix them pretty much, you know, for all time. Other than that, it's just a bunch of crit nodes and you know, a couple of defense nodes over here, and these pretty good. Also, you know, these. And that is about it for the passive tree. It does look a little bit wonky. These are also pretty good nodes, by the way. So, you know, it does look a little bit wonky, but it works. It has to. So, for the gems, I am using Spark for clear because it's just the best brain off skill you can just, you know, spam it anywhere you want and it just will hit stuff and you will just randomly proc comets all around. So Spark with Pierce, I have Inspiration over here, but you know, if I get a 6 link on Cast and Freeze, I will be putting it there solely for the single targets. While mapping, you could potentially just suck it in another damaging gem. Gas Speed and Freeze Buildup. Both of them are really good. This one is especially good for mapping against bosses. It helps as well, but against bosses, you know, you do tend to proc more shocks. But when you do freeze, you proc 4 comets, so it's also really good. So you know, having Spark with more freeze buildup is pretty good. Arc with Chain, so I don't generally use Arc too much, so you don't have to. But if you want to, you know, it is more damage on hit. And so against bosses, there's a higher chance of proccing shock, and in turn, you know, generating energy for our cast and shock. So if you want, you can use Arc. I have it on Unleash, so every once in a while I just, you know, press it, and it kind of sort of guarantees a shock against boss. Not always, but most of the time. So you know, it's okay to have it for a single target. Or with arms, again, just, you know, more hits. You place it and you just bum bum bum. More hits means more chance to shock, so pretty good against bosses. I don't think I even used it, but still. Well, I kind of need to move a little bit against that boss. Anyway, freezing mark, so don't forget to quality this one up. I forgot, but the quality on this one is really good. Also, it's kind of low level for me right now, but you know, you can get it higher. I have 73 dex, so Eye of Winter. It's good if you don't forget to use it. The critical weakness duration is pretty short, so you kind of have to time it a little bit. But you know, if you want extra damage, Eye of Winter is good. With you know, whatever gems you want in here, I have less speed, so it just kind of hits everything against the boss, because I use it solely against bosses. Now Archmage is of course our way to generate shocks, because we are converting everything to cold. I'll show you. Well, we have Call of the Broadheart, so I'm using Spark, converting it to cold, and then Archmage gives it back some lightning damage, and that's how we're proccing, you know, both of these. Cast and Shock. So this setup, you kind of want elemental focus in here. I know it kind of sounds unintuitive, but the triggered spells, if they contribute to 100% of, let's say, Cast and Freeze or Cast and Shock, it bugs out. It just doesn't cast. You need to actually trigger Freeze or Shock another time. So make sure you have elemental focus in here for Cast and Shock, because otherwise against single targets you will be proccing Freeze and there will be no comets flying out, and that's really bad. Sometimes the comets just fly out on top of you at some random time. I don't know, it's either it's a bug or the GG just didn't wanna let us proc casts off of other casts. So you know, elemental focus in here, increased energy gain, so we only need to chuck them twice. And I have this because this is pretty much only for single target. So for Cast and Freeze, this is your clearing setup. So 1 Comet, Cascade, Spell Echo, and Concerted Casting. Really good clear. And when you are running into a boss room, just get another Comet, swap out, Spell Cascade, and you're good. And they also have Overwhelming Presence. So this is my latest edition. It's really good, but it did require me to buy a pretty solid body armor, which cost me 8 divine, so you know, this is just, you know, very good against single targets. Well, for mapping as well, but single targets, this is the most noticeable over there. So for the items, now this shield in tandem with the good body armor on a monk is just insane. This literally gives me double damage. Well, it's damage, but it's not DPS, but still, you get the point. From 5k to 11k spark damage. So, you know, this shield is insane. Get it. Get a good body armor. You wanna make sure that before buying a body armor, make sure that you calculate how much spirit you're gonna be getting. So 1 spirit for 6 energy shield and 1 spirit for 15 evasion armor. So, you know, take evasion rating, divide by 15, take energy shield, divide by 6, add them both up, and make sure you're hitting the threshold that you want. 160 is good. 130 is also good if you don't wanna invest more, because you know, for overwhelming presence you do need to have some strength. So if you're struggling, or if you're a little bit earlier into the build, don't, you know, just you don't need that good of a body armor. You can just drop a rolling presence, get something that's a little bit cheaper for 1 or 2 divines, so you can have 130 130 spirit. Oh, also Archmage has clarity in here. Yeah. So, you know, the items, these are your kind of key items, and also this, Call of the Brotherhood. So our spark can, you know, freeze everyone. Because the call spells themselves, they're not that great for clear in my opinion. So I'm just using spark with Call of the Brotherhood. And the other items here, if you can get chance to shock, is good. If you can't, you know, not the end of the world. Single target is going to be a little bit worse, but you know, other than that, get +4, get spell damage, and whatever else other mods you can grab if you want some cast speed, if you want, you know, more intelligence, so it's easier with the stats. Just, you know, get plus spells. Mana is good, you know, for Archmage, but I would probably focus more on plus spells and chance to shock and spell damage. Mana is kind of like secondary, although, you know, having a bigger mana pool is nice for single target. So, you know, everything else is kind of just resistances and mana. Stats also. This build does struggle a lot with stats because, well, look at the stats. We got a bunch of everything, and you know, on my tree I barely have any travel nodes. Like it's all just specific nodes, right? So you might want to get some stats on your items. And of course, you could get something on the belt if you want. This belt is not that crazy, so you know. Basically, the things that you need to worry about are body armor, wand, and that's about it. Everything else is just however you can fit whatever you need, right? This amulet is pretty good. I just recently bought it. It's +3 to all levels, so that does make my comet cost quite a bit. So if you can't really afford the mana costs, probably just get some mana regen or mana, you know, maybe some cast speed, so mapping feels a little bit smoother with spark. So it's really up to you, but probably allocate deep trance. I know it's kind of a waste because it has attack speed, but the reduced costs are just kind of mandatory for the specific setup that I have. But yeah, this is the build, guys. If you want to do some breaches, this build's fun. The comments are fun as well. And, you know, it can still be pushed a little bit further. I'm on level 90. Oh yeah, for level 91 I'm getting this one, by the way. So, yeah, this is the build. If you guys wanna have some fun, cast some comets, shit up the screen with some projectiles, this is it. But yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Bye bye.